Can you see my screen?
Yeah, it is visible.
So what are we going to do in today's today's story weaving session for the table topics? So we're going to have a storyline, and we have a team of 5 members from both the ATC and the VTC who are going to weave the story. So I'll be giving you a storyline, and both the teams will weave a story. And timer, please note that there's a maximum of 2 minutes for a person to present his or her thoughts. So first, let us go with the guest team, our buddy club, the Virudhunagar Toastmasters club. Are you ready? Okay, so here is the storyline. One fine evening, I was hanging out at my favorite coffee shop. Accidentally, I noticed a strange person loitering outside the shop, and I felt very suspicious about him for some reason. When I was about to leave the shop, there came a black Mercedes Benz and a very handsome man getting out. Suddenly, the loiterer made a lunge for the man, and what happened? Over to the Toastmasters. Can we have the TT speakers from Virudhunagar Toastmasters Club? Is there anyone who would like to volunteer?
Don't we have the TT speaker from Virudhunagar Toastmasters?
Toastmaster Kaushalya, if I may, there's a list of members who are ready to present. It will be, how about we go in the same order as their agenda? Toastmaster Venkatesh first, Toastmaster Pavitra second.
Sorry to interrupt you, Bhavesh. We have Raju Vignesh and Kartika alone in this meeting. Kartika is yet to join in 1 or 2 minutes. Raju Vignesh sir is in the meeting.
How about Kaushalya? You go
and
with selecting
Pavitra also here.
5 people.
3 members here.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. How about Kaushalya? You go and select 5 random people. You create your own team right now, and you give them the order so they can talk according to the order.
Okay then. Can I have Toastmaster Pavitra?
Yes, I'm here. So do you have 30 seconds of time?
No, you have a maximum of 2 minutes.
No. Okay, then I'll start now. So suddenly the loiterer made a huge lunge for the man and said, "My dear son, do you remember me?" For which he replied, "No, I don't know who you are. Can you please get off my shoulders? You're just making a mess in this costly dress that I'm wearing. Please take your dirty hands off me." And he went into the coffee shop and he was enjoying his coffee. For which, by the time, the old man was still waiting patiently outside the coffee shop and waiting for the person whom he called as his son to return. The one who was there enjoying his coffee there just remembered, okay, it's time to pay the money and I haven't got my cards or my wallet. What do I do now? And he was just asked that, no, this kind of moment is what I wouldn't be expecting me to happen. I'm wearing a very costly suit. I'm coming in a very costly, I'm coming to the shop in a very costly car. But what happens? I don't have money now to pay this person for a single coffee. Why is life putting me through this serious issues here? And then he remembered the way he treated the old man outside the coffee shop who was waiting and who was actually trying to beg him for a few pennies, and with whom he brushed away and said, "Please don't touch me." That is when the person came to this rescue. Son, why are you so sad now? And why are leaving leaving the coffee shop without touching it or even having a single cup of it? For which he said, stop troubling me at least now. You have troubled me for so long. You're just ruining the moment of my life here. And see, I'm here penniless. I just forgot my cards or wallet, and here I'm not able to even have a single cup of coffee. That's when the old man said, why not? Here you have a few pennies from me. Come on, please go and have your cup of coffee and enjoy your life. Well, it just did struck him then. It is not about having fancy cars, wearing fancy clothes. It's about having a good fancy heart and having utter good words. So that is when he gave him a pat on the shoulder. Please come join me at my place, and I will make sure you have a better standard of living than what you have already been having. Thank you. Over to Pooja. Over to TD Master.
Thank you so much for that. That was an amazing take on the topic. But can you have other volunteers? And let me just remind you people that people from the Toastmasters Club can actually continue upon the story. Like 2 or 3 people can weave a story together. So can we have Toastmaster Priyadarshini who can weave the story? Do we have Priyadarshini here? Okay. Can we have Toastmaster Archana? Would you like to continue the story?
I was halfway listening with the story. Was that, should I continue with Pavitra ma'am's story?
Yeah.
Okay, so listening to the halfway, I'll continue the halfway, okay? Fine. After they had paid and come back and learned a big lesson that day was a great day for both of them. They departed to their home. They reached there, and the man was thinking about the lesson that he had learned and the things that he had missed all these days in his life. So, okay, he started thinking where he had thought that money is the only thing that has boomed his life. But then he realized so many places where he has lost the places where love and care was to be the highlighted thing, but he had highlighted the money at that point of time. And then he proceeded with having a time machine with him, and he wanted to go back, change everything in his life and come back very well again. So he decided to wonder if he could have a time machine. Then with that scene, he went out to his bed. He had a good sleep, but in his dream, he obviously got that time machine. And then he wanted to travel into that, and he went there to correct his mistakes. But obviously, time does not give everyone another opportunity, I guess. So even when he went to the time machine there, he was not able to correct his mistakes. So people, I feel, do not make mistakes in your life and wait for a time machine to come and correct it again. Do things right in the first opportunity itself. Over to you, Toastmaster, Table Topics Master.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Archana. That is very nice. So can we have Toastmaster Rajiv Vignesh to continue upon that?
Yes. It is very important in life that in any particular situation, you can help anyone with whatever you have. We all have heard about many stories in history where you can help anyone at any point in life, even if you do not have anything. We know that there is a great Tamil king who had donated his own chariot for the purpose of a particular climber plant to grow over. As he was traveling on the road one day, he found a particular climber plant which did not have space to grow on. So he was thinking, how can I help this plant? He gave his own chariot for the particular climber plant to grow over. So be it a unicellular organism, or be it a multicellular organism, be it microscopic or macroscopic, be it any part of the ecosystem, an abiotic or a biotic part of the ecosystem, any part in this world, we all have heard that we may be a small, tiny dust in this universe, in this Milky Way galaxy. But even then, we will be able to help. It is not the size which matters. It is the size of the heart to give, to contribute, and to support anyone in any particular situation you are in. So keep giving, always be on the giving side. When you are on the giving side, you will get more than what you receive. So you may be in any situation or in any form or in any size or any part of the food chain or the life cycle, but you will be able to contribute. We need to catch that opportunity and contribute at the right time, because we may not get that opportunity to serve every time in life. Over to you, TT Master.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Rajiv Vignesh, for bringing in Pari Vallan into our Toastmasters meeting today. And next, can we have Toastmaster Suparaja Gomati to continue the story?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Suddenly, the loiterer made a lunge for the man and looted him of his wallet. The handsome rich man started screaming for his wallet, and then the nearby people tried to catch him, but they weren't able to catch him. Then the man felt very sad, and he went back in his car. When they found out, it was because he had flaunted a lot about his money, and he was a social media freak. He kept posting about everything he had, and the purse which he had was a super expensive one, and people were after it. So the loiterer also came to know of it, and he robbed him of his purse. So you should never flaunt your wealth, and flaunting is a sin. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Suparaja Gomati. That is very nice to hear. Can we have Toastmaster Akash to continue? Toastmaster Akash, are you there in the meeting? So I think we don't have him. Toastmaster Veena, can you continue with the story and finish it off?
Shall I ask my VTC friends?
Yeah, you can.
Sir.
Or Kartika ma'am. Shyam sir or Kartika ma'am?
Kartika ma'am is not here, ma'am.
She is in only. Shyam sir, please.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So the president orders and we abide by that.
Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Okay. Now I understand that the speaker who spoke before me took the story again from the paragraph that was given. So with everybody's permission, I would like to continue it from the speaker who spoke before the previous speaker. So everything happened, and finally, after a month, the man who came out of the black Mercedes Benz and the loiterer meet each other, and the rich guy thanks him. Okay, on that day you helped me when I was penniless. Now this fellow says, that's okay. Now here, have this. Now this rich man receives a wallet from the loiterer. He asks, what is this? My son, you dropped this purse that day when you got out of your car. I plunged on you. I came close to you to tell you that your wallet had dropped off your pocket. But before that, you pushed me away. This is your wallet, and I paid the money using your account, like your money, and now it is time for me to return it to you. So the moral gets advanced, the moral gets extended. You have to be kind towards everyone, and at the same time, let us understand, when you are not kind enough, even your own possession doesn't help you. Like, in fact, the right things do not fall in place when you're not kind with people. So that was a wonderful start to the story, which finishes with two morals. Let's be benevolent, let us be generous with people. Just by having another person near us will never change anything. There is a saying about a very huge monk. He says, give to this world generously, because you do not know when the same thing will come back to you. You do not know what you offered as a gift to others would come back to you as a gift. So that's what we learned from the rich man who came out of the black Mercedes, and the monk like loiterer who taught us this beautiful lesson. Thank you. So everybody stayed happy ever after. Thank you. Back to the TT master.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Shamraj, for that. This one amazing table topic session has given us two models to take back. So that is what I learned: to be benevolent, to be generous, and truthful as well. So thank you so much for giving us such wonderful morals from these two lines of story. So next we have another topic for the Amrita Toastmasters Club, so my club. So can we move on to that? Do we have a table topic speakers ready? Okay, so here is the storyline. After a particularly tiring day at work, I groggily returned to work the next morning. I saw a secretary seated in her cabin, and I greeted her good morning. But she gazed at me vaguely and asked me, "Who are you?" I was shocked for a moment because I had been greeting her every morning for about 5 years, but now she has no clue who I am. Table topic speakers.
Can anyone start or on the order?
Toastmaster Malavika, if you're ready, feel free to start.
Oh, that's what I was. Can anyone start, or are we going in the order?
I think anyone can start.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I would like to continue this story. So after a particular day at work, I groggily return to work. I greet the secretary, and for some reason, she doesn't recognize me, even though I've been greeting her for about 5 years now. I thought, maybe this is usual. Maybe she's preoccupied. Maybe she's thinking about something else. Maybe she has a problem at home. I take it lightly and move on and start my work. My colleague passes me by and I decide, he's here after a few days. Let's ask him how he is. I turn to him and I ask him what happened. And even he doesn't recognize me. This happens the entire day. I'm confused. For lunch, nobody sits with me. Nobody recognizes me. I'm totally confused about what is happening. Because I'm so disturbed by all this happenings around me, I decide that I'm going to visit my friend who was a physicist. So I cut my day short. I take a short leave and I go on outside to visit my friend. When I visit my friend at the university that he works in, he's engrossed with reading some book. But I go to him and I say, man, you have no idea what happened. Everybody is not recognizing me. I have no idea what is going on. And he looks at me and he seems confused. He asks me, why are you asking me all this? Who are you? And again, I'm stumped. And for some reason, he looks at me carefully again and says, what is that shadow behind you? Why do you seem to be flitting in and out? Like, a graphic gone wrong or something. And I'm like, I can't feel anything. And then he then goes on, being the physicist that he is, he opens up a couple of books and tells me that apparently I have switched timelines. So now I am in a very, out of all the probabilities in quantum physics, apparently, there are many probabilities for an event, and I have stumbled on to some other timeline. So apparently when I was sleeping or something, somehow some wavelengths from my brain have collided and I've landed in a completely different timeline. Over to the TT master.
sorry, I got disconnected. So is Toastmaster Malavika done? Yeah, I'm so sorry I got disconnected. So can we have Toastmaster Rupa go next?
Sure. Thank you, Toastmaster Kausila. So I stare open mouth at my friend as he tells me, or who he thinks I am, that I've somehow jumped into a different timeline. And I frantically ask him, how do I go back? And then he looks at me and he says, you can't. And then I ask him, what? And he says, did you realize that even though you jumped into a totally strange timeline where you don't exist, you didn't go back to the point just before you were born. You came to the point in time that was just after the day where you went to sleep. And that happened because you can never go back in time. And that means you can never go back to that point in time where you switched timelines and came to this new timeline. So you're stuck in this universe, this weird alternate universe for the rest of your life, unless the same absurdity in physics happened that sent you here in the first place, but it happens in reverse so that you can go back to what you started with. And I stare at him open mouth and I ask him, so you mean I should time travel? And then he looks at me and says, no. And then I ask him, what do you mean? And he looks at me and he says, I mean that physics isn't advanced enough for us to figure out what happened to you and then recreate it in the exact top-down approach for that to happen again in reverse for you to go back to where you started from. So I just suggest that you come to terms with this life and learn to live it as it is. And then I take a minute to try and understand all of this. And inevitably, I end up in a big pool of tears because it's just so overwhelming for me to wrap my head around. And then I look at him and tell him, can I be your intern? And then it's now time for that guy to be open, stare at me open mouth and say, what? I don't even know you. And I say, the only way for me to go back to my life is to learn physics and figure out how to recreate that thing that sent me here so that I can go back. And the only way for me to learn physics now is to be your intern because you're the only one who seems to be treating me as a sane person. So please, can I be your intern? Favorite topics, master.
That was an amazing take on the topic, Toastmaster Rupa. You're proving to be an engineering student. So can we have Toastmaster Venumadhav go next? Toastmaster Venumadhav.
Yeah, I think you can't see me. I'm sitting in darkness because of power cut. So better I'll switch off my camera. Okay, so till now what? Yeah, fine. Thank you. So that guy named, I'll name him first. His name is Rajiv. So this Rajiv thing asks this guy, the other person, physicist, that can I join as intern in your college or under you? The physicist says, okay, why don't you join? You come on. And then actually Rajiv is very poor at physics actually. So so what can we do? This physicist actually works on something known as a quantum realm where you know Ant-Man, right? So Ant-Man, we can go small in size, and so that I actually don't know much about what that is, but I think because of that also we can do time travel, because I have seen Infinity War where people go small and they do some time travel, go back and forth time. So even this guy, the physicist, is actually working on that quantum realm. But as I told, Rajiv is very poor at it. So after some 2 years, he still works as intern, but still now he is not so good at that quantum realm topic. But physicists gets fed up with him. He says that you are dumb and you can't understand. So this Rajiv gets annoyed. So he goes off from this intern, the physicist. He thinks that I have known well, I have got good amount of knowledge to work on this. So he creates his own machine and tries to go back to the exact timeline where he has where he wants to go. So he tries to build that machine, and as usual he is having poor knowledge, so he ends up going and he ends up getting into time where he was a baby, and he like he pisses off in his pants, so he doesn't know, like he goes back in the hospital bed where he was born that time. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Venu Madhav. So now that the guy is completely pissed off, let's see who can find a solution to him. Can we have Toastmaster Pooja go next?
Yeah, sure. So I'm stuck in this timeline. As we all say, time flies, but we are the pilot. Everyone says, even my best friend with whom I'm working as an intern says that I'm destined to be here. It's all destiny, that I'm supposed to live a life like this. And I tried a lot of ways so that I could return back to my timeline, but I was not able to. So even now I'm started thinking, am I destined to be here? But no, I'm not a person who believes in destiny. I believe in free will. So I went to this huge library and I read a lot of books. I made myself strong enough to build my own mission. And again, I ended up going into different timelines. And I also made friends who had this big brains and who helped me with this. And finally, I'm going to test it for the one last time. Over to the table topic master.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Pooja. So next, can we have Toastmaster Chaitanya to give a solution to this and end the story?
So with my big brained friends, I go and try to test it one last time. But what happens is everything is ready, everything is set. But in the end, everyone goes through the timelines. But when it comes to my turn, the machine breaks or bursts, and all is lost. All my friends have traversed the timelines, but I am still stuck. Now, they say that when all logic is lost, when you have lost hope on science and doctors and scientists, you go to God. So I go to God. And I pray to him that I visit all the temples, I visit all the temples in my localities, and I go to a pujari and I say, see, I do not know what to do. Please help me do this. There's some puja to do this because I have lost all hope. And he tells me that, this has happened many times to people. So all you have to do is you have to relive the same day. You will be given 1 week and you have to relive, you have to think of your favorite god, whoever it is, and you have to relive the same day again and again. All you have to do is you have to look at yourself in the other dimension and prevent yourself from falling asleep. You came to this dimension when you fell asleep. So all the 7 days you have to prevent yourself from falling asleep. Just think of God's name and you will be there. So I do this. So the first day, I see myself in the other dimension. I am sitting with my physics book and I see that nothing can be done. I will fall asleep. So I fall asleep that way. The second day, I try to see what I'm doing. I'm eating during my MS Teams class and I somehow it's the afternoon class and then I again fall asleep. So I try to come up with some mechanism to prevent myself from falling asleep. So what I do is I see myself in the other dimension, and the only way to do that would be to switch on. I put on blasting music. I switch on my favorite series. I switch on all these things, and I see what I'm doing in the other dimension. And finally, there comes this huge documentary. This is huge thriller movie that's playing. So I cannot sleep during thriller movies. So I don't fall asleep and I see myself not falling asleep. And finally, that night when I was awake, I'm able to traverse the other dimension. I say thank you to the priest, and here I am back to the other dimension. Over to you, David Topics Master.
Oh my God, that was in amazing. So many dimensions to the story. So that was a great take on the topic, all the Toastmasters, starting from the guy moving from time traveling, and then you added a lot of fantasies to it, and then ending up with divinity. I don't know what kind of a story exists. So it's a lot of fantasies, but one amazing story. So thank you so much, all the speakers, and I hope you enjoyed this session. Over to the MC.
Thank you, Toastmaster Kausalya, for that fun-filled session. The fun and games aren't over yet. In fact, it's just going to begin. Now we have our mini game session and the game master, Toastmaster Rajalakshmi, to make this day more interesting. Over to Toastmaster Rajalakshmi.
Greetings, Toastmasters. Am I visible and audible?
Yes, you are visible, but we have some vibration in your voice.
Just a second. I'll present the screen. Just a second.
Sure.
Am I now audible, ma'am?
Yes, pa, clear.
Okay. Greetings, Toastmasters. Here I have brought a tic-tac-toe game which everybody loves to play, I believe. Let us have this done, but before we do that, we want to have two teams. As we are two teams taking part in this particular event, let us have VTC as one team and Amrita Toastmasters Club as one team. The task is going to be very simple. I'll give you tongue twisters, and that tongue twister has to be said 3 times faster, and the team which makes it right will get their turn to mark either X or O on the screen. So let me just give you very simple tongue twisters in the beginning. May I call out a volunteer from Virudhunagar Toastmasters Club to start this activity?
You were the one who was good at tongue twisters and you are conducting the game, ma'am. Karthika ma'am can help us.
Sure, sir. Karthika ma'am, the first one is very simple. It is black background, brown background. You should say it faster 3 times. Thrice, black background, brown background. You should say it faster thrice, ma'am. Your time starts now.
Is it background?
Background, yes, ma'am.
Black background, brown background, black background, brown background, black background, brown background.
That was actually a sample one for everybody. Here starts the real answer. The first one is here for you. Double bubble gum, bubbles double. Double bubble gum, bubbles double is your. No, you shouldn't write, ma'am. If you write, you are disqualified. Give it a try, ma'am. Just give it a try. Double bubble gum, bubbles double is your tongue twister.
Double bubble gum, doubles bubbles. Double bubble gum, doubles bubbles. Double bubble gum, doubles bubbles.
Double bubble gum. Half the tongue twister was correct, ma'am. Bubbles double is the second part, ma'am.
Bubbles double.
Okay, let us give the same tongue twister to Amrita Toastmasters Club. And any Toastmaster from Amrita Toastmasters Club can give it a go. Yes, I think the MC is ready. Toastmaster Pooja.
Okay. Can you please repeat the tongue twister?
Yes, double bubble gum, bubbles double. Double bubble gum, bubbles double.
Okay. Double bubble gum. Okay. Double bubble gum, doubles bubbles. Double bubble gum. It's bubbles, right? Okay. Double bubble gum, bubbles doubles. Double bubble gum, bubbles doubles. Double bubble gum, bubbles doubles.
Okay. Fantastic try, I would say, ma'am. But till the last word of the tongue twister is double and not doubles. Therefore, nobody gets their X or O on screen. Let us move on with the second tongue twister with Virudhunagar Toastmasters Club. May we have anybody to give it a go from Virudhunagar Toastmasters Club?
Karkwel Raja, sir.
Karkwel sir is ready. Then Karkwel sir, I can give you a nice one. Yes, sir. A big black bug sat on a big black dog on its big black nose. A big black bug sat on a big black dog on its big black nose.
Okay. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. You are perfectly audible.
Okay, just check whether I'm right. A big black bug sat on a big black dog on its big black nose.
Impeccable, sir. Yes, that was it. And you have to make it thrice faster.
Faster, okay. A big black A big black bug sat on a big black dog on its big black nose. A big black bug sat on a big black dog on its big black nose. A big black bug sat on a big black dog on its big black nose.
Fantastic, sir. So what letter do you choose? Either X or Y. Sorry, X or O. Oh, I taught them algebra today and I'm teaching X for you. Yes, sir. Which letter do you choose? Either X or O?
X.
Okay, sir. We have 3 rows and 3 columns. Where would you like to fill that X? In which row? Which?
Second row, second column.
Okay, sir. So now we will have the second row, second column. We have marked X as you can see on the screen. Now let us move on to the next scene. So Amrita Toastmasters Club, whoever makes it right will have to mark O on the screen. So let me have shall we have the same tongue twister for Amrita Toastmasters Club? I think we shall go with a different one as we have got the person right. Anybody from Amrita Toastmasters Club? May I have the volunteers?
Yeah, sure. I would. Okay, Pavish, you want to go ahead?
I'll go ahead, Toastmaster Rupa. I'll go next.
Sure.
Okay, so here is the next tongue twister for you, Toastmaster Bhavish.
Toastmaster Rupa is doing it.
Okay, Toastmaster Rupa. Toastmaster Rupa, the tongue twister for you is very simple. 4 fine fresh fish for you. 4 fine fresh fish for you.
4 fine fresh fish for you. 4 fine fresh fish for you. 4 fine fresh fish for you.
Fantastic, ma'am. Where do you like to have the O?
1.
1. Okay, so here is O on screen. The turn now comes to the ball is in the court of Virudhunagar Toastmasters Club once again. Let us have another person from Virudhunagar Toastmasters Club.
Shyam, sir.
I was about to give her name. Okay.
know.
Okay.
So here, this time we'll have a little more complicated one for both the teams. Here is the tongue twister. All I need is a proper cup of coffee made in a proper copper coffee pot.
Can you repeat? All I need is a proper cup of
Proper
coffee.
cup of coffee made in a proper copper coffee pot.
I'll first state it. All I need is a proper cup of coffee in a proper copper made in a
Proper copper coffee pot.
proper copper coffee pot. Is that so?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm definitely going to flunk. Amrita Toastmasters, get ready. Here is your turn. All I need is a proper cup of coffee in a proper copper coffee pot. All I need is a proper cup of coffee in a proper copper coffee pot. All I need is a proper cup of coffee in a proper copper coffee pot.
Okay, sir. We can still take it, though there was one word
Made
missed.
in.
The coffee, made in, sir. The coffee has to be made in that proper copper coffee pot, sir. Okay, anyway, we can still take it. Where do you like to have X?
On 4.
Yes. Okay, so here, Amrita Toastmasters Club, grab your chance and block their win. Here is your turn. Let us have Toastmasters Bhavesh, who already volunteered.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll give you a simple one. This looks simple. Okay. Here is yellow butter, purple jelly, red jam, black bread, spread it thick, say it quick. Yellow butter, purple jelly, red jam, black bread, spread it thick, say it quick.
Ma'am, what are the? Okay, ma'am. Can you once repeat it?
Yes. I'll make it very slow, sir. Very slow. I'll repeat. Yellow butter, purple jelly, red jam, black bread, spread it thick, say it quick. So the tongue twister is yellow butter, purple jelly, red jam, black bread, spread it thick, say it quick.
Yes, ma'am. Yellow butter, purple jelly, red jam, black bread, spread it thick, say it quick. Yellow butter, purple jelly, red jam, black bread, spread it thick, say it quick. Yellow butter, purple jelly, red jam, black bread, spread it thick, say it quick.
Wow, amazing, sir. I would say this was totally, this has totally blown my mind out because I took 30 minutes of time to memorize this tongue twister and you have just made it in, like, after you heard it thrice. Amazing talent. So where would you like to have O on the screen, sir?
Obviously 6, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. So the next tongue twister goes to Virudhunagar Toastmasters Club. Shall we have one to volunteer from the Virudhunagar Toastmasters Club?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. For Archana, we can definitely give a hard one.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Here is the tongue twister, ma'am. Red roses for Ruby, red rubies for Rosie. Red roses for Ruby, red rubies for Rosie.
Red roses for Ruby and red rubies for Rosie. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am. Correct.
Okay. Red roses for Ruby, red ruby for roses. No, Rosie. Okay, I'll go first. Okay, red roses for okay, red roses for Ruby, red ruby for Rosie. Red roses for Ruby, red ruby for Rosie. Red roses for Ruby, red ruby for Rosie.
Fantastic. Where do you like to have X on the screen?
2.
2. 1, 2. Fantastic. So here is Amrita Toastmasters Club's chance to block their wins once again. I'm going to give you a very easy tongue twister. Maybe shall we have a volunteer? Am I not audible?
This Toastmaster.
Yes, Toastmaster Kausalya. I saw. Yes, Toastmaster Kausalya. The tongue twister for you is: I saw a kitten eating chicken in the kitchen. I saw a kitten eating chicken in the kitchen.
Okay, I shall first repeat that. I saw a kitten eating chicken in the kitchen.
Yes, yes. Faster, tries.
I saw a kitten eating chicken in the kitchen. I saw a kitten eating chicken in the kitchen. I saw a kitten eating chicken in the kitchen.
Oh, fantastic. You made it. You made it, Toastmaster Kausalya. Many a time when we try this tongue twister, people would say, I saw a kitten eating kitchen in the chicken. That's where they go wrong, but you have made it flawless. Which box would you choose?
8.
8. Okay. So, if there is still chance, okay. We'll go ahead with Virudhunagar Toastmasters Club. Yes, we have Veeram.
Yeah.
The cook took a good look at the cookery book. Ma'am, here's the tongue twister. The cook took a good look at the cookery book. The cook took a good look at the cookery book.
Okay. I can check with my sentence first. The cook took a look at the cookery book. Is it correct?
Good I think you have missed it. The cook took a good look.
Oh, the cook took a good. Okay.
The cook took a good look. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I can. The cook took a good look at a cookery book. The cook took a good look at the cookery book. The cook took a good look at the cookery book. Yes.
Fantastic, ma'am. The letter, where do you want it to be? Oh my God. Where do you want X to be?
7.
7. We'll now give the chance to Amrita Toastmasters Club. It's your turn. May I have the volunteer from Amrita Toastmasters Club, please? Any volunteer from Amrita Toastmasters Club?
I shall go.
Yes. Here is the tongue twister. Let me have a look at the tongue twister once. How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
Okay.
I'll repeat, ma'am.
How much? Just repeat it. How much wood shall a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
How much wood would a woodchuck at first?
How much wood would a woodchucker chuck? Could you repeat it? Chucker chuck if.
How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
Okay, I'll repeat it once more. How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
Fantastic, ma'am. Fabulous.
Okay, now I'll start properly. How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck? How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck? How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck? Am I right?
There's one word at last was missed, ma'am. How much wood would a woodchuck could chuck if? How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Wood at last was missed, but it was definitely perfect.
Then I'll go again. Then. How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
Wow, amazing, ma'am.
Ma'am, but only 1 point.
Yes. Okay, let's have O on the screen, ma'am. It's choose either it's 3 or 9.
3.
Okay, there is still chance for Amrita Toastmasters Club to win. If Virudhunagar Toastmasters Club is going to make it up, then we can block their victory and we can make it a tie. Otherwise, we'll have the winners as Amrita Toastmasters Club. May we have a volunteer from Virudhunagar Toastmasters Club to take up this?
Pavitra, ma'am, you are our savior.
Yeah, I will go with it, ma'am. So please be kind.
Yes, ma'am. I'll give you a tongue twister. I think you can make it, ma'am. If one doctor doctors another doctor, which doctor is doctoring the doctored doctor?
That was very kind of you, ma'am. Can we have it one more time?
Yes, ma'am. Just a second. I'll check if any other tongue twisters would do. Ma'am, you can choose any one, ma'am. It can either be if one doctor doctors another doctor, then which doctor
Definitely
is
got
doctoring?
that. Next one.
Otherwise, you still have an option whether you can take. The 33 thieves thought that they thrilled the throne throughout Thursday.
No, that also doesn't sound good.
Anyone would do, ma'am.
Oh, only one between those two.
You can say anyone, ma'am.
Yeah, the doctor was fine. So what is it? If one doctor?
If one doctor doctors another doctor, then which doctor is doctoring the doctored doctor?
If one doctor doctors another doctor, then which doctor
is doctoring the doctored doctor?
Which doctor is doctoring the doctor's doctor? Doctor only, right? Not daughter.
Which doctor is doctoring the doctored doctor? Doctored. Past tense.
Doctored. Okay. Doctor, doctor. Okay. So if one doctor. Yes, ma'am. No, what, ma'am?
I want the grammarian to exempt this alone because I don't know if this is grammatically constructed correctly.
Now, I just go with it one more time. So
Yes,
please, if one doctor doctors another doctor, then which doctor is it?
Yes, ma'am, correct.
Then which doctor is doctoring the doctored doctor?
Fantastic, ma'am. That's right.
So now I should go with it, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So here I go. If one doctor doctors another doctor, then which doctor is doctoring the doctor doctor? If one doctor doctors another doctor, then which doctor is doctoring the doctor doctor? If one doctor doctors another doctor, then which doctor is doctoring the doctor doctor?
Fantastic, ma'am. So obviously we have to mark. Oh, we have to mark our in. Now we have come to an end of this session where both of us have won, I would say. Each of us was smiling to get the tongue twisted when we volunteered. There was so much of energy and enthusiasm. Thank you so much, Amrita Toastmasters Club and Virudhunagar Toastmasters members. Let me hand over the control back to the MCs. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rajlakshmi, for that exuberant session. I think I spelled it right. And everyone loved your session. Words have the power to help, to heal, to hinder, to hurt, to humiliate, and to humble. Not all leaders are great leaders, but all great speakers are great leaders. That's the power of the art of speaking. Now it's time for our prepared speech session. Firstly, I would like to call upon the individual evaluator for Toastmaster Chaitanya, who is Toastmaster Archana. Toastmaster Archana is a passionate learner who loves to learn and share her learnings to others. Currently, she is an online tutor, memory trainer, Vedic maths trainer, and personality development trainer. She loves spending time with colors, so she paints and designs dresses. When I asked her the question, if you could live anywhere, where would it be? And she said she loves to live in the deep sea. Toastmaster Archana, I would like you to come and elaborate on Toastmaster Chaitanya's project. Over to you.
If you are about to read that whole content, I would have shortened it. But thank you for your wonderful introduction, my dear. And here comes the objective of the prepared speaker one, Toastmaster Chaitanya. The purpose of the project is for the member to identify his or her primary leadership style or styles. The purpose of this speech is for the member to share some aspect of his or her primary leadership style or discuss the leadership styles in general. And the speech would go for 5 to 7 minutes. And my best wishes, Chaitanya. Over to you.
Now let me introduce our first speaker, Toastmaster Chaitanya. She's a final year BTech student whose heart lies in books and poetry. If she could live anywhere in the world, she would choose to live in the beautiful fairylands found in the old Barbie movies, where things are always peaceful and have happy endings. Toastmaster Chaitanya, to lead or to leave. To lead or to leave, Toastmaster Chaitanya.
Thank you, Toastmaster Pooja. A very good evening to all Toastmasters and guests present here. As a child, I used to be very introverted and reserved. I was rarely a social butterfly. I was more like this antisocial, hibernating bear. All in all, I had like two friends. One was the TV, the second my books, and the three of us together made a great trio. I could not be more satisfied with my life. It was only when until I grew up, and it was only when I reached my teen years that I realized that you need people in life. But by that time, all my friends, all my socially smart, extroverted friends had started becoming school pupil leaders and sports vice captains and whatnot. Leadership to me seemed so intimidating. I thought that, you know what, leadership is not meant for people like me. Then I entered college. I thought that this is a new place and no one here knows me. So maybe I can craft a new identity here. So I took up my first ever leadership role. I took up the role of the class representative in the first year. And guess what? I unlocked my hidden potential and became a better leader than all my friends put together. No, I'm joking. I failed miserably. When I became the class representative, I had no idea what a class representative was supposed to do. You can get testimonials from all my classmates, and they would say that I was, well, to put it nicely, the worst class representative ever. But then I realized that there was a lot to learn from that. As a good leader, I learned that it is always important to put the needs and preferences of your team before that of yours. And I also learned that a good leader always has to be alert, attentive, and observant all the time. It is only when we are alert and attentive do we become aware of our surroundings and do we attain knowledge. When we have knowledge, we would become confident. And only when we are confident, people look up to us. My second leadership role was that of the secretary in Amrita Toastmasters Club. And I found out that secretary is supposed to have some fairly good amount of organizational skills. And since I had none, I thought, okay, let me learn it. And then every week, our poor president, Toastmaster Bhavesh, asked me for agendas and MOMs, and I sent it to him in the last minute. And that is when I learned that in order to be a good leader, you have to, in order to manage other people and inspire others, you have to master the art of self-management. Self-management is the first step to be a leader. When you can manage yourself, it is only then that you can do external management and manage other people and inspire them. My third leadership role, yes, I did not give up. I had to take another role to mess it up. I took a third leadership role, and this turned out to be an important one. When I initially took the role, I thought that this is the worst mistake that I have ever made. But then by the end of the experience, I thought that, you know what, this is the best thing I did. I took up the role of the contest chair in the HSE and evaluations contest. When I was taking the role, I thought that the contest chair was supposed to be like a master of ceremony or like an anchor for the entire thing. And it was only later that I came to know that I had to organize the entire event and take care of every aspect of it. And in case any of the role players go wrong, I had to do their job instead. And in case any conflicting situation arises, I had to take care of that too. I was filled with anxiety. And with the limited experience and the lack of exposure that I had, I did something. On the day of the trial run, it was a complete disaster. There was utter chaos. The chief judge said I was disorganized, and the president said president was disappointed in me. I did not know what to do. The next day, I had my lab practical final exams. So the entire night, I sat and thought about where I went wrong. And I found out that the root of all solutions was because a root of all problems was that I did not have a solid plan. So I sat down and made a solid plan, a solid agenda, and a solid script. And then I DM'd all the role players and I told them that I trust you with this huge responsibility and please do it well. I trust you. If you do not do it well, it's going to be difficult for me. So please do it well. And I asked all of them, and then I also faked some confidence. I had no confidence, but I pretended like I was super confident during the day. And then finally, the meeting was a success. So after this journey and a lot of my failures, I came to the conclusion that my leadership style was coaching. I liked to find the strengths and weaknesses of people, and I like to motivate them and encourage them. So I also liked an environment where there's a one-to-one setting, and I like to say positive things to people so that will instigate some confidence in them. So, and I think that I am learning and growing and experimenting, and maybe in the future my leadership style would change. And one thing I would like to say is that no leader is there. Like the quote goes, leaders are not born, but they are made. So even when we are not natural, even if we do not have natural leadership skills, it can always be cultivated. All we have to do is keep trying and trying. With that, I come to the end of my prepared speech session. Over to Toastmaster Pooja.
Thank you, Toastmaster Chaitanya, for your sparkling words. Now, now let me introduce the. I'm sorry, I forgot the name. Okay, it's Toastmaster Bhavesh. Okay. Now I would like to call upon the individual evaluator for Toastmaster Karguvel Raja, who is Toastmaster Bhavesh. He's a third-year BTech student from Ooty, and he's currently pursuing electronics and communication engineering. For the question, what's the closest thing to real magic? He said it's technology. Toastmaster Bhavesh, I would like to come and elaborate on Toastmaster Karguvel Raja's project. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Pooja. It's a bit disappointing when my classmate doesn't know my name. Anyways, moving ahead. Good evening to all once again, and a special good evening to my target speaker, Toastmaster Karkuvel. Toastmaster Karkuvel will be presenting his speech, receiving evaluation, and then work upon his evaluation for a second speech. So at the end of the speech, Toastmaster Karkuvel will work upon all the evaluation provided by the individual evaluator, that will be me, and present his next speech based upon all his improvements from this evaluation. Thank you, and back over to the Master of Ceremony. Before I hand it over back to MC, timer, please note, vocal cues are required for this speech. It is requested that you do 2 claps at 5 minutes, 6 minutes, and 7 minutes. Thank you, and back to MC.
Thank you, Toastmaster Bhavesh. Now let me introduce the second speaker, who is Toastmaster Karguvel Raja. He's an English trainer and someone who believes in humor. Humor is the essence of life. And when I asked the question, where do you see yourself in 5 years? He said in 5 years, he will be somebody who nobody would have seen and who everybody wished to become. Toastmaster Karguvel Raja on the way, Toastmaster Karguvel Raja.
When the clock struck 5:30, did all of your mind say, I smell trouble? Speaker number 2 is missing. Friends, trouble is a part and parcel of our life. We try to escape out of it, but it comes running to us like a beautiful, cute little baby coming to its mommy. I was on the bus coming to my place. The bus travel should have taken 50 minutes, but it took 65 minutes today because the bus driver was playing tag with the accelerator. He pressed it once and let it go. The bus moved. He once again pressed it and let it go. The bus moved. It took him 65 minutes where it should have been just 50. I created the trouble, but he was also a part of it. Sometimes when we are in trouble, we might not even be a part of it, but still trouble would find us. Like back then in the 6th standard grade, my friend Madan said, Karkwil, I'm going to write a love letter to our class leader Niveta. And I said, no, Madan, what are you thinking? How could you do that? We will be in trouble. You will be in trouble. He said, no, she will not find out. Let us see how she reacts when she finds it. He placed the letter in her bag during recess. And we stared at her bag when she opened it in the next period. She read that and she looked around. She looked at all the boys' place. I and Madan were stoic. We were like statues sitting on the benches. If a crow would have come and sat on us and peed, we would not have moved. Niveta then stood and went to the teacher. I panicked. Madan, she is going to report to the teacher. Madan said, no, I think she is going to get the support of the teacher to guess who wrote it. But guess what? I used my left hand to write it. She will never find my handwriting. It is completely different. At that time, I realized being dumb-headed is not a crime. Being with dumb-headed people is a crime. And the ma'am asked us, who wrote this letter and kept it in Niveta's bag? We were all quiet. And ma'am asked Niveta, who do you suspect, Niveta? She said, I suspect 18 people in this class. Ma'am told all the boys to kneel down. I kneeled down for something I did not do. I tried to stop him, but how could he stop a mentally disabled people? But Madan was kneeling next to me. He told me, Karkwil, I just finished counting. There are only 17 boys in our class. Do you think the 18th is a girl? That day I realized being friends with dumb people will make you dumb as well. I studied hard and went to college. As I joined Ample English in American College, I was very wise in picking my friends. I stopped hanging out with stupid, dumb-headed boys. I hang out only with girls. I became a rank holder because of my hard work. I got the 18th rank in the class. My mother was still not happy, though I was a rank holder at college. I became friends with a girl named Linus. Linus became my friend girl. I became her friend boy. This boy and girl has to be in parentheses. Don't roam your mind out of the speech. Come back. Linus and I, Hari and Fastina, who were also our friends from class, were going on a trip to IFLU at Hyderabad for our thesis. That trip was very crucial because all the books, all the resources we wanted to refer were there in IFLU. But the time was very good. So all the youngsters of Tamil Nadu decided to revolt against PETA, fighting for the bull's life. We went to the bus railway station and found Vaiga Express was not even in Madurai. It had stopped in Dindigul. We thought they would change the name to Dindigul Express from then. So we boarded the bus, went to Dindigul. The bus did not go to the railway station. They said there was a bridge breakdown. You have to walk. And we ran to the bus, ran to the railway station to find out why Express standing there quietly. So we boarded the train and reached Egmore. From Egmore, we had to go to the center. As we stepped out of Egmore, policemen with big sticks and guns that they had never cleaned were roaming here and there. They were beating boys and girls who were in pairs or more than in pairs. And we were all in groups. So we ran to the central railway station. We got in. The time was 1:30. We had the train at 2. So we went to the station to listen to the announcement. The announcement came finally. We were very happy to receive it. The announcement said, the train that should be leaving from Central to Hyderabad is delayed by 6 hours. And we got stuck. If we went out, they would beat us. If we stayed here, these girls would torture us saying, it is very boring here. So we boarded the train after 8 hours of delay. In a station, the train stopped. Faustina said, Hari, I am hungry. And Hari said, come on, Karpel, let us get down and get some food for Faustina in the next station. Linus said, Karpel, don't go, you stay with me. I refused Linus's proposal and went with Hari. We got down at the next station. Nothing was there. It was barren. It looked like a desert in Tamil Nadu. Only 2 dogs were roaming here and there. Those dogs were us. We did not notice the train moving. Only after it got late, we noticed, we ran. And the guy who was standing in the doorway was like, come on guys. Instead of cheering us, would you pull us in? And he was like, no, I don't want to come out. And finally, we got into the next compartment. Later, we realized we had to move a lot to reach the place. Faustina, as soon as we reached there, asked, Hari, where is my food? And Lena said, shut your mouth. Friends, I got into many trouble in my life, but trouble will always give you a wonderful experience. When you are in trouble, all you need to remember is that you are on your way out of there to the best place ever. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Karkavil Raja. It was a hilarious speech. And that was one of the best prepared speech sessions that I have seen. Now it's time for evaluation and feedback. Feedback is the breakfast for champions. Now I would like to call upon the General Evaluator, Toastmaster Shyam. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Pooja. For a change, feedback will be the supper for our champions today. It's evening, and yes, we start with the evaluation section. Firstly, we'll have the individual evaluators presenting the specific evaluation to the speeches presented by the prepared speakers. We had our first speaker, Toastmaster Chaitanya, presenting her 5 to 7 minute speech, and Toastmaster Archana was all ears and eyes listening to her presentation. May I request the bold and brave Toastmaster Archana to present her specific evaluation on the speech. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, General Evaluator.
Hello? Am I the only one who...
No,
yeah.
no.
Yes.
Yeah. Am I audible now?
You are. Please
Yeah.
continue.
It was a great, fantabulous speech, I would say. Identifying your leadership styles. See, as you said, leaders are not born and they were made. I would always say, no, leaders are born. You had an inner quality of being a leader. You said there were so many flaws and flops during the area contest. I mean, with the contest that you were a contest chair in, right? But I was there in that. I didn't find any flaws or flops over there. You did not have worked thing. No.
Ma'am, we lost you for a while.
Yeah, my connection is getting unstable.
If you
Fine.
wish, you may have your video switched off and speak,
Okay,
ma'am.
fine. Now am I clear?
Yes.
Yeah, sure. I'm sorry for that. I don't know why it's heavily raining here. So maybe it's because of that. Okay, fine. So if I'm lost somewhere, I first started from the beginning. I'm sorry. And it was so professional that the way you conducted the contest, my dear, it was like, it was no flops and flaws, I would say. Leaders are not born and they are made, you said. No, leaders are born. You really have the inner quality of being a best leader. And you really identified all the ways that you have to become the leader for this. So evaluating your speech, I had so many good, I could see so many good usages like hibernating bear, having a good trio, being a good trio. I don't know how the books and TV go with you, pairing with you, but nice to see a good word that goes. And a craft a new identity, unlocked my hidden potential, and and perform a lot of things that
Okay.
yeah, I'm getting lost, right?
Yes.
Okay, let me conclude this way. Leaders like not one who knows their way, it is like who shows the way. And not only your speech, you are a good qualitative leader, I would say. Maybe not a good representative, not a better secretary or a worth contest chair, but you were an exuberant speaker, and a good speaker will always be a good leader. And you are one such a leader and also a great speaker. Thank you. Over to you, the general evaluator.
Loads of gratitude, Toastmaster Archana, for motivating our speaker, Toastmaster Chaitanya. I'm sure she has been encouraged. Now we move on to the next specific evaluator, who would be presenting his evaluation on the speech presented by Toastmaster Karkuvel. Here we have the soft and soothing Toastmaster Bhavesh Ram.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shamraj, for such a good introduction. Without any further ado, let me start with Toastmaster Karkuvel's evaluation. Toastmaster Karkuvel's evaluation will be based upon 3 subparts. One would be structure, number 2 would be voice modulation and gestures, and finally, comfort level and interest. Let me start with comfort level and interest because that is where he excelled today to a great extent. I bet we all would accept that Toastmaster Karkuvel was extremely humorous. There wasn't one point where he wasn't humorous. I should say he's one of the best humorous speakers I've ever seen. He had a very soothing and calming, yet cheerful and happy voice that made all his humor, concede with each other and make it really effective. He was a really good storyteller and he captured all our attention through various incidents and a very vivid description of each incident so that we have the experience of staying there. I would appreciate Toastmaster Karkuvel's way of storytelling, and I would ask every one of you to adapt his style of storytelling. Where you have a lot of incidents, make sure your each incident is descriptive enough for that person to experience that, the audience to experience the incident. Moving ahead to structure. To notice, Toastmaster Karkuvel was very spontaneous. Though he was late today, he took it as a positive note and he added it into his speech and made each one of us notice it, yet notice it in a positive way. I would recommend everyone to do that too. Now, moving ahead, he had a one long story, but his story had multiple parts, all revolving around the central theme called trouble. And trouble, though the story was amazing, it did not have a central strong message. I would
Bhavesh?
recommend the incident or a conclusion to his entire story. For example, there were a lot of troubles. How did he make use of those troubles, or how did he make the best out of those troubles? So that would have created a central message for all of us to follow and understand. So, am I audible? I have some messages popping out.
Yes, Bhavesh.
Yes, thank you. So I would recommend Toastmaster Karkuvel. For example, at the last, you had a train incident. how you reached your place and made the best use of it, or how did you tackle that police situation in a better way, in a more detailed fashion, with a little bit of message for us to remember or carry over. Finally, voice modulation. You have, I should repeat that you had such a happy and cheerful voice throughout your speech. But what could have been better here is changing your emotion according to incidents. For example, you had suspense in one of your places. For example, you placed a love letter in one of your classmates' bag and you told the sentence, let's see what happens after this. You could have waited for 1 or 2 seconds for us to think what happened actually. So we would all have our imagination going around that situation. And when you answer it, that would have created a great effect on what is yet to come, and it would have created an anticipation in each and every one of us. Moving ahead, you could have changed your emotion throughout. You had a rehearsed rhythm throughout your speech. This, though it wasn't monotonous, but it had a rhythm. For example, during suspense, you could have lowered your voice, created a small kind of shivering there. When you said that the train station was deserted, you could have made it slow. The train station was deserted. Give a pause. It would create some impact. When you said that the police were beating the students, here you could have raised the seriousness of the situation. The police were beating everybody. We did not know what to do. Everybody were hurt. I was happy that I wasn't hurt. Then I realized that we were also in a group and we were also in a trouble. So when you raise the seriousness of the situation and then bring in humor, it will have even more effect to that particular situation. So to conclude, have a central positive message that you can revolve around. For example, in your situation, have you resolved all your troubles? Your comfortable was amazing, and I recommend every one of the audience to follow the same. Try changing your emotion according to your sentences, and try having other emotions apart from happy and cheerfulness. Thank you, and over to the general evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Bhavesh. That is the mark of exemplary evaluators. Toastmaster Bhavesh did not just say what he observed, but he has also told us what we should learn from such a presentation. Feeling so grateful. Thank you, Toastmaster Bhavesh. Now we move on to the tag teams report. I would say that the architecture of a Toastmasters meeting is properly entwined only through time management. Today we had a friend doing that job for us, Toastmaster Yash. We are ready to listen to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shan. So here goes my report, starting on the table topic sessions. So the first table topic speaker was Toastmaster Pavitra. She took 1 minute and 35 seconds. Next was Toastmaster Archana. She took 1 minute, 23 seconds. And next was Toastmaster Rajiv. He took 2 minutes and 11 seconds. And next was Toastmasters Gautami. If I'm pronouncing it right. Gautami, she took 51 seconds. And next was Toastmaster Sham. He took 1 minute and 39 seconds. And the sixth speaker was Toastmaster Madhvika. She took 2 minutes and 6 seconds. And seventh was Toastmaster Rupa. She took 2 minutes and 11 seconds. Coming on to Toastmaster Venumadhu, he took 2 minutes and 10 seconds. Toastmaster Pooja took 1 minute and 9 seconds. Toastmaster Chaitanya, who was the last table topic session speaker, took 2 minutes and 27 seconds. Now coming on to prepared speakers, the first prepared speaker was Toastmaster Chaitanya. She took 5 minutes and 46 seconds. And the second prepared speaker was Toastmaster Karkuvel Raj. If I'm pronouncing the name right, 7 minutes and 31 seconds. And coming on to individual evaluators, first individual evaluator was Toastmaster Archana, took 1 minute. And there was some technical issues, so I couldn't find the right time, but it was approx 1 minute. Now coming on to Toastmaster Bhavesh, he took 4 minutes and 6 seconds. So here goes my report. Back to Toastmaster Sham.
That was wonderful, Toastmaster Yash. Most of us do not take this report very seriously, but let me tell you people, this is the measure of the natural flow that you had in your speech. Have you experienced this? At times you prepare for a 5 to 7 minute speech, present it on the stage, and you feel that the speech went on in 2 to 3 minutes. You feel that it went off so fast. That's because you lost your natural flow. You felt very uncomfortable on the stage, and that's why you did not know that time flew so fast. Thank you, Toastmaster Yash, for helping us know how long we actually took. Now, a tough role to nominate for the hour counter. So here we have Toastmaster Venu Madhava to present his report on the ahs and ums that we had during this meeting.
Thank you, Evaluator. Currently waiting for a row of filler words, but I was disappointed because of most talented Toastmaster speakers we have. Without further ado, first table topic speaker had one arm, one hand, and then Toastmaster Archana, the second table topic speaker. And so Toastmaster Raghu was one so, and then Toastmaster Gomati had one so and one arm, and Toastmaster Shyam, close to you, I didn't observe any of the filler words in your speech. Next up, and then in second team of table topics, Toastmaster Malvika had one one so, Toastmaster Rupa had one so, and myself, I had some 4 R's and a couple of so's. And Toastmaster Pooja had one and one so. Toastmaster Chaitanya had 3 ands and 1 . Coming to a prepared speech session, Toastmaster Chaitanya had 3 R's and 3 so's. And Toastmaster Karugel, kudos to you, I didn't find any of the filler words in your speech. And also at last moment, due to some low bandwidth issues, I was unable to concentrate much. And coming to individual evaluator session, Toastmaster Archana had 1 and 2 so's, and Toastmaster Bhavesh had 2 R's and 1 so. To you, General Evaluator.
Well, thank you for that meticulous report, Toastmaster Venu. That has certainly helped us understand where we had to concentrate on. Now, let's listen to the teacher of English, Toastmaster Rupa Vidya, help us with our grammar.
Thank you very much, General Evaluator. I'd like to begin by thanking 2 very nice people in the meeting, Toastmaster Archana and Toastmaster Pooja, who used the word of the day. Repeating again, the word of the day was exuberant, which stands for full of energy, excitement, or cheerfulness. And moving on with the positives, let's go ahead and look at the nice vocabulary that we had in today's meeting. We started with culmination by Toastmaster Bhavesh in the presiding officer's address, and Toastmaster Pooja used a very similar word, confluence, and this was followed by Toastmaster Shamraj, who used collated and elucidate. Toastmaster Kausalya used loitering and lunge in her table topic session. Toastmaster Rajiv Kannan took a mini biology class for us with uni and multicellular organisms, micro and macroscopic organisms, and biotic and abiotic organisms, traumatic memories. But moving on, Toastmaster Supraja used the word flaunted. Toastmaster Sham again used abide by something and being benevolent. Toastmaster Kausalya used the word groggily. Toastmaster Malavika used the word engrossed, stumped, and flitting in and out, which is like very rapidly fading in and out of the screen. And Toastmaster Venu Madhav, I must comment him, used the word realm. And Toastmaster Rajalakshmi used impeccable. Toastmaster Karkuel used recess instead of lunch break or interval, which seemed like a very apt usage. And Toastmaster Sham again used exemplary and meticulous. And lastly, Toastmaster Bhavesh used vivid in his description of Toastmaster Karkuel's language, and that seemed like a very apt usage. Moving on to the effective usage of language, we had Toastmaster Sham used right things do not fall into place when he spoke about things happening the right way for people. That seemed like a very apt usage. Toastmaster Kausalya used latter topic in her table topic session, which seemed like a very welcome deviation from the usual first topic, second topic, third topic, fourth topic, and so on. Toastmaster Malavika used cut my day short, which means like deviating from your agenda and deciding to like do lesser in your day than what you had planned. Toastmaster Venu Madhav used fed up, which means vexed. Toastmaster Chaitanya had a very apt title, to lead or to leave, which made clever use of alliteration. And she also used social butterfly and hibernated bear to describe her personality traits, which seemed very nice. And she also used craft a new identity, which was very nice usage of language. And Toastmaster Karkuvel used part and parcel of lives, which means things that happen and you have to take in your stride. And Toastmaster Sham also made this reference to the evaluation session being the supper of a Toastmasters meeting, which was again very apt. And he also used all ears and eyes, which means the audience is paying very rapt attention to you. And he also had this very nice usage during Toastmaster Archana's evaluation session, which was, you may have your video switched off. And I noticed this because I do this a lot of times, but I say you can switch on your video, which can, in which case, signifies ability to do something. And everyone knows that they can switch on their video if they want to. But the implied intention of the sentence was to suggest that that person do it. You may do something. You may enter the classroom. You may take leave if you feel tired. And whenever we suggest that people do something, when we make a recommendation or a request, we say you may or may I come in. We don't say can I come in, because can is for ability and everyone knows that people can do things if they want to. And now moving on to the incorrect usage of grammar or areas of improvement. The first thing I noticed was whenever we speak fast, like I'm talking now, we use a lot of redundant language, as in saying the same thing twice. For instance, we had refrain yourself, wherein refrain itself means you act on yourself, you stop yourself from doing something. So refrain yourself is redundant. You can just say refrain from doing that, or I refrained from speaking out of turn. And meeting together, again, meeting is a confluence of people. So we don't have to say meeting together. We just say meeting and it's enough. And then we had creates huge amount of energy or something, but we should have placed an article there. It should have been creates a huge amount of energy. And we had giving feedbacks, wherein feedback is like a collective noun. So we just say giving feedback without the S. And we had speaks with allotted time. Again, this could be because we were speaking too fast, but it could have been speaks within the allotted time. And we had thoughts can take us miles. We had thoughts can take us 2 miles. In context, it should have been thoughts can take us miles without the 2. And we had this serious issues. It should have been these serious issues. And we had plunged on you. One nuance that we have to notice here is there are 2 English words, lunged and plunged, wherein plunge is when you jump into a body of water, like you take a plunge into a swimming pool, and lunge is when you make a quick gesture as if to grab something. So you lunge on people and you plunge into swimming pools. And we had greeted her good morning, which is again redundant usage. We should have either said, I said good morning to her, or I greeted her, or I greeted her with a good morning. Greeted her good morning is not correct usage. We also had pisses off used. Firstly, I recommend that you don't use words like piss or pee in a formal meeting, because they tend to like lean towards the informal side. Secondly, I believe this was used in the context where a child was urinating himself or herself. But when we combine the phrasal suffix off with piss and it becomes pisses off, it means to make someone angry. So I don't think, even firstly, don't use it because it's informal usage. Secondly, don't use off, because then you change the meaning of the phrase that you're using. And we also had agendas used. Agenda itself is plural, so we won't have agendas. Don't do that. And we also had vocal cues used, which in context, I believe the person was trying to imply audio cues or sound cues. And we had back over to, it should have been either over to or back to, again redundancy. And we had 6th standard grade used. It should have been either 6th grade or 6th standard. And we had crow, even if a crow would have come and sat on us, where we were messing up with our tenses, it should have been even if a crow had come and sat on us, not would have. And we had in entwined, the Toastmasters meeting format is entwined by the timers report was used. My understanding of entwined is it's like you weave 2 threads together. So I believe it is not very appropriate usage. And we also had adapt his way of storytelling, wherein the speaker was used as an example and we should all learn from him. I think in context, the word we were looking for was adopt. So we could adopt his way of storytelling. Adapt to something is wherein something happens and you modify your behavior to tolerate whatever happened or better experience whatever happened. Adopt is like you take on a principle or you take on a child or you raise a child. So here we were trying to learn from that person and take on their storytelling style. So my understanding is adopt was the word we were looking for here. And lastly, the nice and incorrect pronunciations that we had in today's meeting, we had the word really used, which I believe was spelled R-E-A-L-L-Y. And when we speak really fast, we say really, really fast. Even though it's okay in informal usage, it's actually really, and it's not really. So please don't do that. And we had the opposite happen with wearing. The year is not so very pronounced there. It's wearing and not wearing. And when we have a plural word that takes on a possession like match boyses, we don't say boyses, we just say boys. If we have the boyses scores were really impressive, we just say the boys scores were really impressive. We don't have to add the extra s there. And we also have ado used, which should have been ado, and there's no word called ado. And lastly, I would strongly recommend that everyone in the meeting learn to pronounce the people on the agendas, names correctly, because it's the least amount of respect we can pay to the people in the meeting with us. With that, I end my grammarian's report. Back to the general evaluator.
Let me compliment that grammarian's report by asking, "What are you, madam?" Now, I would recommend that you choose your career wisely. Please do not just become an engineer. A lot of children require a proper grammar teacher. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Rupa Vidya, for enlightening this evening with all your grammatical suggestions. I remember a South African 3-time DTM, Mr. Eric Kaila, I suppose. This man stated to us, when you speak, people do not follow your content. People do not follow your language. People do not follow your pronunciation. People follow your energy. With a person of this energy, everybody is certainly glued. My sincere appreciation, Toastmaster Rupa Vidya. We were all blessed with that report. Thank you. Now, let us move on to the General Evaluators report. This meeting has been outstanding. I should say we started on time. I was 1 minute late, but still I found that the people had started on time. There was extreme command in the speakers. I enjoyed the fluency of every performer. When we stated robbed him of his, I felt the word was used in a way that it was a lesson to everybody. Time flies, but we pilot it. That was the first time I heard such a usage. Destiny versus free will. I see you all as ardent readers as well. Now, the game with the tongue twister and the table topics with the story weaving concept were adorable. I should say we were all into a personality development class when it happened. Though I found that the agenda was moving off the track. As far as I understand, we should have had the prepared speeches first and then have had the impromptu section. However, it was good to have the fun session first and the learning session next. In fact, there is a statement in Tamil. It goes, "Modalla virundu appuram marundu." So that happened today. Now, what were the places where we should have been right? Helps you to. This helps you to improve. My dear friends, there are 3 words in English which do not allow a to come after them. For example, I cannot help you to do something. I cannot let you to do something. I cannot make you to do something. It should be I help you do something, I let you do something, I make you do something. So remove the 2 if you're using any of these verbs. We could have been perfect in the order of speakers when the table topics session was conducted. I appreciate the phrase rehearsed rhythm when it was quoted as a recommendation. This is a problem that most of us get into and we do not realize it. We feel that we are presenting in an admirable way, but then we do not know that there is a monotony that is being carried out throughout the speech. I should say that all the role players did their role so beautifully. The prepared speakers, I appreciate you for their efforts and sincerity. The table topic speakers, the people who built the stories, you were all, you were all wonderful and fantastic. I really enjoyed the way you spun those stories. In fact, I listened to an NLP practitioner saying, whenever you do something with caution, your neuron patterns are growing efficaciously. So great job done. My sincere thanks to everybody who has made this meeting so beautiful. Thank you, presidents, for bringing us together and gifting us this beautiful evening. And had I missed anyone, that's simply because of poor memory and definitely not of intentions. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Back to the MC Toastmaster, Pooja.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shyam, for your detailed report. It is always important to know when something has reached its end, and here we are at the edge of the ending. But end is only a beginning in disguise. I would like to thank every role players and members for making this meeting a successful one. And a special thanks to Virudhunagar Toastmasters Club from Amrita Toastmasters Club. Hope we all got to know each other. Hope we all had a great day. Thank you, everyone. Over to the presiding officer, Toastmaster Bhavesh.
Thank you, Toastmaster Pooja. I really need to apologize, guys. We are off the track for like 25 minutes. This shouldn't have happened, but I hope everybody had enough amount of fun to compensate for the extra time that we took. Without any further ado, let me pass the stage on to Toastmaster Veena for closing the meeting.
Yes, greetings everyone. This meeting, the special meeting with the VTC and ATC, is an exuberant meeting. From the top to bottom, I feel the overwhelming of energy within the meeting. I thank Toastmaster Bhavesh for this initiative. At this juncture, I would like to thank our head of the department of this meeting, Toastmaster Shyam, and my VTC friends, Pavitra, Archana ma'am, Raju sir. It goes in a way. One second. Yes, I thank them for taking roles in this meeting also. Though ATC buddy members or our student friends, today I felt that VTC is the buddy club, we are the student to them. Wow, not only in preparation, delivery, gestures from all the role takers or a stunning moment for me. We had an excellent opportunity to be with you, though through this online meeting. My special thanks to all the role takers from ATC. With this, I am adjourning 207th meet of VTC and 328th meet of VTC. Thank you all.
Thank you all. Thank you for attending the meeting. Feel free to disconnect.